Hello, Jazzy crew, and welcome to episode 105 of the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast. Of course, if you are tuned in, you know that I am your host, Jasmar Jazz Bennett, mother, educational leader, event, and podcast host. And I'm so elated to be with you on another Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Before we get really deep into this episode, I need for you to do a few things. I need for you to be a part of my Jazzy crew, and it is so easy to do that. A lot of you are already a part of my Jazzy crew, and I really, really appreciate your love and support over the past 2 years. I have been able to be as successful as I am because of you. So here's what I need for you to do. I need for you to make sure that you are subscribed to this podcast, Jazzy Conversations with Jazz. Subscribe on all of your favorite streaming platforms. Do you like to listen to podcasts via Spotify? What about Apple Music? Do you like Google Podcasts? Do you like iHeartRadio? Whichever is your favorite, that's how I need for you to subscribe. Once you subscribe, make sure that you follow, make sure that you review it. I need a 5-star rating. I'm already at 5 stars, but I need you to do the same. Make sure you review the podcast to let me know how I'm doing, okay? You can do the same thing over on IG and also on Facebook. Make sure you are subscribed on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and while you are there, make sure you click the notifications bell so that you will know when a new podcast loads. Episode 105 will load tonight, and I am so excited for this podcast episode. So here we go. Let me spill the beans on how this episode morphed into what is going to be. Today, I was sitting in my office and I said, you know what? I feel depleted. Like my energy is low. I don't feel inspired. I don't want to talk anymore. I just want to chill. I want to just not do anything. I felt so uninspired. Tap in the comments and let me know if you've ever felt that way. Let me know where you are looking from, where are you watching from. I see a lot of Polk County people in the building. Hi, Sherelle. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a minute. We definitely have to get together. But I had a moment of just being in a funk and I couldn't get out of it. And that's not like me. Like a lot of people just tell me like, Jazz, you inspire me, da, 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 da. And I appreciate that. And I don't know if it's just because I need someone's energy, because I just felt like my energy was depleted. Like I literally was like, I'm not motivated to do anything that I need to do. And I don't care if I need to do it. I just don't want to do it. And so I was just like, I got to get out of this funk. And so I went to my inspirational book that I read, daily. I went into prayer and I just said, I'm going to do something off of my gut instinct. And so if you saw the Facebook post, I legitly today, like less than about 4 hours ago, posted, tag a motivational speaker, an inspirational speaker, a life coach, tag them in the comments, and I need for them to be ready at 7 p.m. I didn't say why. I didn't give any other gesture of what this would be about, but I actually wanted to link with someone that I could bring spontaneously on my podcast. Like, who does that? Like, my faith is so crazy like that I'm just like, cut whatever the original plan was. I'm going with my gut. I'm trusting you, God. Let's go. And so my next guest is just that. I don't believe in any chance meetings. I just don't. I believe that in this big age of mine, that everything is divinely ordered. I always believe that, but I just truly more than ever believe that everything is divinely ordered, right? So I read his bio, like someone in the comments that I really, really trust, and she's just a good person, kind-hearted. I went with her suggestion, and I said, let me reach out to him. As soon as I reached out to him, we had brief words, and he was like, yes, I would love to come on. I started doing, my research, my due diligence, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. He has a podcast. Like, the guest that I have right now has a podcast. He definitely is well-versed in motivational speaking. He loves kids. He loves moving organizations to their heights with motivation and inspiration. And so I said, you know what? This is it. And so without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to motivational speaker, a life coach. He has so many titles, y'all. Like, the man is bad. Like, if you were on my page and you looked at his bio, you read about him, some of you know him. He said a coined phrase to me because he said that he knew someone that I knew. And this person that he knew happened to be Colin Moore. So Colin Moore, your name is coming up again. And just out of the blue, like, he didn't even necessarily know that we knew one another, but he said that he knows you. And so I was like, you know what? He's definitely a shoo-in. Like, I have to have him on this podcast. And then definitely this is not like just a whim thing. Like, I feel like this is a God thing, definitely. And so, Michael, I am going to invite you on because remember, we had this conversation before. You know, Instagram treats me like a stepchild lately. Like, the past 3 episodes, it's been giving me trouble. And so keep requesting me, Michael. I see you. I see that you're on. Come in the comments, wave to everybody, and we're going to get this on. Hi, Sherelle. Hi, Gretchen. Look, Gretchen has been doing amazing things. Girl, you have not stopped. Like, you're in New York. You're doing all of these amazing things. And I thank you. And thank you so much. I see the This and That and the Other podcast is tuned in. Thank you so much for tuning in as well. Michael, how you doing?
What's happening, Miss Jazzy?
Hey, look, I'm feeling great now. I can see you. I know that you can see me now. So all is well.
Yeah, I heard you talking. I'm like, man, who is this guy she talking about? Because I got to meet him myself.
Listen, Michael, I didn't even do an eighth, not even an eighth of the bio. Like, I'm reading your bio and I'm like, whoa. Like, simply whoa, like, I'm blown away. Like, you are that guy. You are that dude. So introduce yourself to my audience.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, this is your boy, Mike Mariner, a.k.a. The Shift Motivator. I'm a motivational speaker, author, and success coach. But most importantly, I am a husband and a father, first and foremost. Me and my wife just celebrated 26 years of marriage, been together 24. So that's my pride and joy right there. And I got 2 beautiful daughters. And I'm a man of faith, man of God, man. That's my first and foremost. And just having the opportunity to motivate and inspire people from all over the world, man, has been a blessing. And I do have an apparel brand that's, that's been all over the world, man. That's a blessing when you can see people wearing your apparel and saying that, hey, just because of what it says, it inspired me to go. It's just, just a blessing, man. I'm glad to be here and excited to be here on tonight.
Look, I'm excited to have you. Listen, I love me some Black love. So whenever I love love, period. But it's obvious that I love Black love,
Right. Hey, we don't choose our own horn, who else will, right?
We don't all kind of love. But it's something like I've never been married before. Like, people already know I was in a very long relationship, but just never been married before. And so when I hear people, especially a man, come on a podcast or it's in my presence and he gloats about his wife, like, my antennas are like this. Like, it's like, dude.
Yeah, that's my sweetheart. That's my ride or die right now.
Okay, so you celebrated, you said it was 22 years of marriage?
26.
26. You've been together for 24, right? So tell me, how did you guys meet?
You want the truth, or you want we actually met in youth ministry, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually met in youth ministry. I was going to this church at the time, and we was actually in youth ministry. We actually had a little disagreement, and we actually kind of like separated from each other for a little while. And somehow, I don't remember even how we broke the ice, and we ended up going out, just hanging out as friends. And then just one thing, we just grew together as friends. And then I was like, you know what? She has a lot of great qualities that I'm looking for. And, even though I wasn't even like in that space, but, just a thought, but then it just happened. And then from then on, we've been attached to the hip.
Someone said, tell the true story. So is that the true story? Can I count on the fact that this is
That's
the true
not what
story?
I heard.
I figured. I figured. So sis, that's right. Keep them on the straight and narrow. Tell the true story.
I did. I just omitted a few things.
You just omitted a few things. Listen, you cannot omit anything on the Jazzy Conversation. This is a safe space, Michael. I
Okay.
promise. Look, the shift. Look, listen. This
Listen,
is a.
I got you. This is what happened, right? Now, my oldest daughter is not my biological daughter. So she was actually 1 year old when we started dating. And
Oh my
so,
God, this sounds so familiar, Jesus. This sounds like my. Well, it's not a love story at all.
so,
It's not a
so yes,
love
you
story. Ooh,
know,
Lord, okay.
so, so we are a blended family, and so she was actually pregnant at the time. She was in her senior year in high school, and
Okay.
we were in youth group, so we was chopping it up at the pool table and stuff like that, and so we're laughing it up. So I'm messing with her, right? So when you shoot pool and you tap the ball, that's your shot. We say shot. That's
Yes.
it. So
Okay.
I guess her hormones kicked in and she wasn't feeling it because I was like, shot. No, it's my turn. So she's like, no, shot, shot. I was like, okay. She got hot, so she picked up the cue ball and she flung it at my head.
Oh
And,
gosh.
and I
Yeah,
blacked
that's
out.
hormones right there.
I blacked out. I grabbed the pool stick. So my cousin grabbed me. Somebody grabbed her, and that was it. That was the altercation. So it was like I just blacked out, man, and so we laugh about that. And so because over the years, she like, hey, you want to go play pool? I just give her that look. Nah, I don't play.
Well, put a little pillow, a little pudge, or whatever to make it work. Like you remember this time, like you remember.
Nah, I'm having flat. Like she's trying to take me out. I'm like, you literally came from my life. If that cue ball would have hit me, I could have been like highly damaged. But that was actually the the strangest thing that kind of connected us together, and we've been connected at the hip ever since. When I say that's my ride or die, that's my.
Yeah.
We went through the muck. When I say we went through the muck, went through the mud,
Yeah.
and that's she been with me the whole way, man. That's why you can't do nothing with her. Nah, I'm coming.
Listen,
I'm like
listen.
Leon. I'm coming.
I love that. Protect, provide. Listen, I love that.
Yeah.
I want to, because of the fact that I'm so interested in hearing just stories of love and stories of companionship, because for some reason that topic for the past few months has, not even for the past few months, forever, but really, really intensely for the past, I would say, year, because people have been wanting me to do a show that just deals with couples, because they just said, like, we just want to hear more stories of people being couples. And so the topic of marriage, even in my own household, has run rampant. I have two sons, and so one of them is a stone cold mama's boy, and he just does not understand that a husband would be a blessing. Like he sees it as somebody
Right.
taking his mom away or whatever. And I'm like, no, baby, he's gonna elevate our life.
Right.
I'm
Right.
trying to tell
Right.
you, how to do this thing the right way. And I'm just like, he does it. He's okay. His dad is married. Like he's fine with that. But if I talk about it, like he saw this ring and he's like, I'm like, baby, I've been wearing this ring for like the past 2 years. And he looked at this ring the other day and he almost like lost it. He was like, Mom, what is that? And I'm like, it's on the
Uh-oh.
right hand. You are right. You are right. Look, I said I switched it and I put it on the left hand and he was like, no. So I'm working on him. It's like it's layers to it. So
Yeah.
I want to, and the great thing about it too is he's so involved when it comes to this podcast. Like he literally is such a supporter. He's only 9. Like he'll be 10 in
Wow.
January.
That's awesome.
So, but he's so in tune to it. Like he'll tell people about this podcast even before I do. So what I would like you to share is, just with that marriage, because you keep saying that's your ride or die. Your wife is your ride or die. Tell me how choosing the right partner elevated you successfully in your workspace, because I don't think that we really, really think about that. Like we think about the love component, we think about definitely building a future. Like we want the house, the picket fence, we want the kids, we want all of that, but we never think of I won't say we never think about, but more so than likely, we're not thinking about, is this person going to be a good helpmate to me in my professional endeavors? And so I feel that your wife has to be that if you guys are celebrating 26 years of being with each other and then 24 years of marriage. How has she been a great helpmate to you? Has she, being with you, made you more successful?
Oh, by all means. And the reason my face is like this, I got a stank face right now. So, boy, that's a loaded question. And I got to make a correction real quick. I just thought about it. We got married in '99, so that's 24 years. So I've been married 24 years together, 22. So let me get that out of the way. Right now, I don't know how many on here may be familiar with the late great Dr. Miles Monroe. So Dr. Miles Monroe, he was a preacher in the Bahamian Islands, and he died in him and a couple of his staff members had died in a plane crash some years back. And actually, me and my partner, Alexander, he's on the podcast. So me and him were kind of chopping it up one day, talking about Dr. Miles Monroe. So he started talking about vision. And I had just watched one of his past sermons where he was talking about vision. I'm like, wait a minute, this sounds like the same, YouTube video I just watched. So he started talking, and I started telling him, he was like, yeah, we watched the same. But the way he was explaining it, it was just blowing my mind. And I'm going to say this right here, right? He said this right here. Vision chooses your mate. Vision chooses your relationships. I was like, wow. And I'm going to tell y'all what I mean by that and what I felt that he meant by that for me. So when I say vision, when I look at my life, right, I was a quiet kid in school. You didn't know I was in the classroom unless you took rope. And so for me to be doing the things that I'm doing right now is nothing short of amazing. I give all glory to God. So at the end of the day, my teachers go back and when they see me, they be like, you doing this? So, but anybody that knows anything about entrepreneurship, man, that's the hardest thing to do. It's you're the sales guy, you're the promoter, you're the graphic person, like you're the tax person until you can, find somebody. It's like you're everything to everybody. So sometimes it may cause you to have some setbacks. Sometimes it may cause you to go without. Sometimes it may cause you to lose your mind sometimes, right? So when I look at my life, and the alias Shift Motivators in my life for a reason, right? My company's called Shift Motivations for a reason, right? I've had to change and shift out of so many unfortunate bad situations. Mostly was just life happening. You know what I'm saying? And God allowing it to happen because it was shaping and molding me who I am. A lot of people that know me personally know me for my intensity. They know me for my grit. They know me for my tenacity, not giving up. And so, but none of that would have happened had not I gone through the things that I went through. I've lost houses, lost cars, lost jobs, lost money, right? And she didn't go anywhere. So now you tell me what fool would I be to go out there and mess around and do some things I ain't got no business doing when she was with me when I had nothing, right? I'll give you a quick story. Our first house and God, and tell you, it's like God did me like he did Job. You can touch everything around him, but you can't touch his family. So our first house we bought, I was 21, she was 22 years old. We had just gotten married. We was blessed to get our first house. And the year that the 4 hurricanes came through Florida, right? I'm gonna tell you how ride or die she is, and why I say vision chooses your spouse, and you have to be in tune to what God is doing in your life, because the vision for your life includes other people, and so those other people are made for your vision. And so we're sitting in there, and we thought we made it out. The last hurricane took us out. I mean, our house was in good condition. The house flooded, right? And when the house flooded, the house went into like immediate where mold and stuff started going on the wall. So we got up. What happened was I happened to wake up one night, and I get up out the bed. So my foot hits the side of the bed, and I hear the sound that I ain't used to hear. I'm like, what is that? So I'm like, oh man. I said, okay. So I got water on the floor. Let me find out. So I finally I stand fully out the bed, and I'm standing. I'm like, whoa, that ain't. It's water throughout the whole house. The whole house flooded. Whole house is flooded. So I go into the kitchen, and I'm like, man, the whole house. I mean, water is just seeping in through the kitchen from the back door, just seeping in. So I go back in. I said, babe, I said, man, the house not flooded. I said, so she gets up, And she go tends to the girls or whatnot. So I'm going looking for the mop, looking for towels, looking for anything I can get to stop the water from coming in. And so then she gets them situated. So then she comes in and starts helping me. And I'm gonna tell you this: how good God is, even in Mr. Tragedy. It didn't seem like it at the time, but me and her, we sitting up there with the mop and we got towels. But I'm noticing every time we mop, there's another flow of water coming in.
Yeah.
So we stopped and looked at each other and was like, and we just started laughing and like, what the heck are we doing? So I say, listen, you grab the girls, take them to your mom's house. I'll do whatever I can do here, and we'll figure everything else out. So anybody that know back then, you couldn't even get a contractor to come to your house for 6 months, let alone get back on your feet. So, and then there was some other things. I was working a commission job at the time. I wasn't making a whole lot of sales. So we was going through it, y'all. And so we went and ended up actually staying with her for about a year, I want to say, year and a half, because and people trying to jip you and stuff, man. We had a guy come to them. My wife called me, I'm at work. She's like, babe, this is how much the guy saying this is how much it's gonna be to fix the roof. I said, what the dude doing on the roof? Ain't nothing wrong with the roof. We need drywall replaced. It's all I'm saying. $5,000 for what? Ain't nothing wrong with the roof.
All they know is when insurance is involved, they want to, let me get in. Let me get in on that.
You got to cash out on this guy.
Right.
So it took us a lot to get back on our feet. But at the end of the day, she was there every step of the way, man. When we was talking about that vision, I say, man, because my vision, my life has been, if I can be honest with you, it's been hell. There's been a lot of great moments, but at the end of the day, it's God. When God said, hey, I need you to name your company, and all of this came out of prayer. Yeah. So I didn't just, that sounds good. It was like, God, what am I doing? What am I supposed to do? What is it? Because I knew everything, it has to have a meaning. It has to be a means to an end. It has to lead somewhere. And so she's been with me through all of that, through thick and thin. You know what I'm saying? And even still, as growing the company, there's still some challenges. You know what I'm saying? And she's right there. And so it's very important that you have the right mate when you're choosing your spouse or even just general relationships, man, because at the end of the day, sometimes these people can make or break you because you can't be an island all to yourself. But there's times when you're not, there's times where I felt disconnected. I wanted to throw in the towel. I wanted to give up. But because I was around people of vision and people that had some substance, you know what I'm saying? They was like, no, Mike, it's too much in you. You need it too much. There's too much, just, hey, like God said, wipe the sweat with the towel that you just tried to throw in and get back in there and start fighting.
Get on back in. Michael, what do you think? Because you have daughters. And so what qualities do you possess that allowed your wife to allow her to stay, allowed you to continue to lead? What qualities you see in yourself? Like when you do a self-assessment, what are those qualities? And what are those qualities you would tell your daughters to look for in a man? Like, it's no prize in being a ride or die for just anybody. Right. Like, what qualities do you possess that would definitely say, look, you can definitely follow a guy like me?
I'm say first and foremost, man, he got to be a visionary. He got to be a visionary because
that vision has to include you.
Yeah, exactly. I tell my daughters this all the time when they was little girls. They're grown now, and so I say, listen. First thing you ain't finna do, you bring a dude coming knocking at my door with his pants below his waist. I say, you already know what time it is. They just laugh and stuff like that. But how you present yourself, it's very important. So, and I tell them it ain't about that. I say as long as they have vision, I'm good. I say because of the stuff that I've been through and me and your mom been through. I say who are me to judge and put somebody in that situation knowing what we've been through? But because I had vision and I had to continuously, when things weren't going as well as we wanted them to go, as a man of vision, I have to re-encourage her to let her know everything's going to be all right. You know what I'm saying? Because if I didn't have vision, I couldn't do that. Because if I'm just out here just trying to get it and it's not happening fast enough, I have to reassure her that everything's going. So you can't just be out there just going, just trying to be the man and get it. She lost in the back. She's trying to figure out what's going on.
Right.
There's no
Right.
communication. There's no communication. You ain't including her in the decision making. None of that type stuff. So, these things that I had to learn, and even getting advice from my pastor and other mentors that I had in my life. Hey, Mike, you just got to keep real sure. And even though I already knew I was doing that, it was just a conversation that had to be had, because I'm like, some points it's like, hey, man, I don't know what to do right now. But
Yeah.
it was that reassurance that she had that, hey, I'm not sitting at home on the couch drinking the Kool-Aid talking about what's for dinner.
Exactly.
So I would say first and foremost, he got to be a visionary, because that's what's going to get you through the hard times. Because as long as you can see your way out, you can get out. And I like something Les Brown said: as long as you when you fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up.
Absolutely. I love that one too. That's one of my favorites too.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
You saying something.
yeah,
You saying something.
yeah. So you got to have honest. You got to be honest and have integrity.
Yeah.
Character. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care what you got. I don't care what kind of car you drive. What your integrity and your character look like.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
hold on. Let me rewind it. First and foremost, you better have a relationship with God.
Thank
Then,
you.
because that's gonna line up. That's gonna line up, because
Yes.
at the end of the day, you don't understand why God allows you to go through the things you go through until the aftermath. A lot of times. So a lot of the
Yes.
stuff it's funny. Me and my wife, a lot of the stuff that we went through, we would come into contact with people that would have gone through the same exact thing. So when the real estate market crashed, guess what? We had already went through that. So
Yeah.
it was like, we was encouraging people that was going through some of the stuff that we went through. It didn't feel good at the time, but God said, hey, y'all strong enough. I feel God said, y'all strong enough to handle this, so y'all will be, good to help people get up, out of their situation from where they at. So I'm going to go ahead and let y'all flow through this, but at the same time, it's going to build y'all. Y'all going to get closer together. Y'all are going to do some things that you never thought you would do, because of you was forced into a certain situation.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
So listen, I wanted you on just for personal reasons, but then I was like, this is the holiday season and people get down on themselves about, either what they can or what they cannot do, when it's time to gift family members or whatever the case may be. Like this is a high season for those feelings of, depression, right? And
Right.
so I was literally sitting in my office, and I explained this before the beginning of the podcast, but I was sitting in my office and I was like, I literally don't want to do anything. And I sat there and I sulked, and I was just like, I don't even want to do this podcast tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like something that literally God gave me the vision to do. I was like, I don't want to talk. I'm not motivated. I don't want to talk about that tonight. And I was just like, you know what? So what? I was just like, some other things too. I'm just like, I ain't feeling it. And then it was just like a voice like, like really? You like that's how you feel? Like with something
Right.
that, you've been blessed with, that's how you feel. And I'm just like, okay, well, help me get out of it, God. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it didn't come to me. I was like, I need to be motivated. I'm not inspired. I read my devotional. Like I did all these things trying to just get an inkling of being inspired. So I was like, you know what? You know what makes me happy? Food. Let me go to food. Let me go to food. Like
Right.
I was like, I'm gonna just choose whatever restaurant I want to go to, because I can do that. I'm gonna go to whatever restaurant I want to go to. I'm gonna order whatever I want to order. I'm talking about I'm ordering appetizers. I'm doing it up, right? So something told me, cool, check your bank account. Like I had already ordered this stuff. Like check your bank account. I literally forgot about a huge check that I had written. And when I say I shouldn't have even had myself in that restaurant until another check came in, and I was just like, okay, God, really? Because I was really literally about to make a post about, I'm so thankful that I'm able to do this. Like, if, like this is just a pleasure of mine. Like, thank you, God, da 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 da. And I'm like, here I am looking like a sad puppy or whatever. I'm like, God, okay, I need you to talk to me. Talk to me through this. I was like, Lord, if it's just a check that could come, I'll be all right. And I'm just like, I started reflecting on other things. And I was like, God, like really forgive me for not just really counting my blessings. Like, we all deserve grace, and sometimes we do need a break. Like, that's just, we're human. And I just wanted to get down to the root of why I wasn't inspired. And so I'm not this type of person that I feel that God directly talks to me, but it's like a gut feeling or whatever. And I just kept in my mind, I was like, dang, like just show me something that I'm, supposed to be doing this. Show me that I can do my podcast. Like, give me some more motivation. So I go to my mailbox today and I just opened my mail and there was a check. There was a check, Lord. A check in the mail. And I'm like, I don't get checks like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. And then get this. The check was from an overpayment from a procedure that I had done. And I can't even remember when I had the procedure. And I'm like, who gets a check back from a medical physician? And I'm just like, I sat in that car. And everybody don't think that I just don't need money, because if you owe me, come on and give it to me, and all of that, all will be well. That's not what I'm saying. But I was just like, in that moment, what in the world? Like, I literally was like, God, just show, because it's been moments where, you tell God what you want him to do. And he's not like a magician where he's just going to give you exactly what you want when you want it. He's going to give it to you when you need it. I'm going to tell you, today I needed it. I was just like, because I just felt like if it's just one more thing, I'm going to just be like, that towel that you were talking about, you could have that back. And when you say God threw that towel right back at me, like, listen, you're going to trust me. You're going to get this thing right. Because look, I'm like, where in the world did this check come from? So that's when I was like, okay, I need somebody that's going to come on this podcast tonight. And I didn't say that in the post, so I just had people to just really pitch people who are motivational speakers, who are here to inspire people, life coaches, etc. Because we let life, and we forget our faith, and we forget what we're made of. You know what I mean? And so just meeting you, just talking to you briefly, I told you, like, I inboxed you. I was like, I just truly don't believe that there are any chance meetings. I feel like everything is divinely ordered, and that's what I feel that this interview definitely is just divinely ordered. But I needed to say that because, you threw in, you definitely, number one, you have to have God in your life. And anybody watching this podcast know it's not a podcast that, we like that we would put on that I haven't said that I wanted it on a platform, a Christian platform. But I just need to let everybody know that around here, I do believe in God. And like, if you are questioning where he is, like you're questioning everything, I truly believe that your success does not start until you really, really reach out to him. Because if you are successful right now and you don't even ever reach out to him, just imagine how that can be multiplied if you really do seek him and you really, really follow his word. And so I had to insert that somewhere in this podcast. So this was like the opportune time to do that. So I'm like, I've got to let people know how good he has been to me. So insert all the time.
Even when we don't feel like it, even when we don't feel like it, man. You got. And I'll share this with you just as words of encouragement as well. Being in ministry, it can be taxing on you. You know what I'm saying? And you're talking about growing mentally. You're talking about growing spiritually and things of that nature. And I thought something was wrong with me. Because, I had been raised up in the church all my life. And I'm like, you got to read the word every day. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. And the first time it happened, it freaked me out. And I was like, because I had got in this space where it's like, no matter what I read, I was in a ball. It wasn't doing nothing for me. I'll pick up the Bible and I'll start to read it. And then I'll just throw it back on the bed. Like, it ain't doing nothing, and I don't know what's wrong with me. And so finally I got up the nerves and I went and talked to my pastor and I say, man, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this to you. I said, well, man, I'm not feeling reading the word right. I'm just in a place. And he starts laughing.
Yeah.
And, he said, well, no, he said, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. He said, because the same thing happened to me. Yeah. And so when it happened to me, I went to my apostle. And this is what he shared with me, so I'm going to share it with you. He said, there's nothing wrong with where you are. He said, matter of fact, you're where you're supposed to be. He said, what it is, your spirit is in a search for something deeper than what you've been getting. So until you find what that is, your spirit is going on a search, and you're going to always feel that way. So every time now, because I actually go into seasons like that where I feel like, okay, this ain't working no more. It's like, okay, I know that. Yeah, you know that. That's why it's not working for you right now. So I need you to go deeper than what you're doing. So when those seasons come around and I feel dry in my spirit like that, I have to go back and regurgitate that word. It's like, okay, my spirit is on the search right now, so I need to go deeper. God is telling me to go deeper and pull out something that he needs me to take me to the next level. So I just wanted to share that, and I just felt led to do that. And because sometimes we can get into a religious place, and you're supposed to do that. You continue to do that, but when you're doing it, you're just going through the motion, and you're not really growing from it. That means God is trying to get you to go to a place that you haven't been. So that's why that can't feed you where you are. So you have to find out what's going to feed you where you are, so that way you can move on. So
that's good. That's real good. Yeah. I can definitely vibe with that, and I definitely, that definitely helped. And that's true. That's where I was. That's where I was today. So I invited you on to kind of, to uplift, to inspire, to motivate. But I do want to know where you got your skill set from. You have a prowess with energy to inspire, from the youth to different sports organizations to professional organizations. You are a life coach. And so I want to know where did you start? Tell me about this trajectory of you becoming this motivational speaker and all of your titles that you have.
Well, I out of that hardship, I found myself unemployed at one time, and we was living off savings. So God shut every door. When I say every door, I mean I was just trying to make money. My first job was at Checkers right there on 27 in Haynes City. That was my first job. So I mean, I tried to go back to flipping burgers. They wouldn't even hire me to flip burgers. And so my aunt, she pulled me to the side one day. She said, "Well, baby, have you ever thought about you overqualified for where you trying to position yourself at?" I said, "Well, I never thought about that." So I'm in the bed one night. Back then we used to look. We had newspapers. So now we got the internet.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at jobs and stuff, and I'm circling this one job, and it comes out to be insurance.
Okay.
And so I called them to find out, and I was like, I ain't with that. Driving around in my car and all, I ain't with that. Wear and tear on my car, I ain't with that. Going back to my beautiful wife, my wife, we sitting in the bed, and I told her, I said, nah, babe, I said, that's wear and tear on the car. I ain't trying to do nothing. She said, it's seller. By that time, I wasn't in the sales. I was, manual labor. So I said, I ain't with the sales stuff. I ain't got time. She said, well, baby, what can you lose? She said, you got nothing to lose right now. And everything that you've done up to this point, you've been successful at it. So why not give it a shot? How you going to say no to that?
How
you going to say no to that?
Yeah.
So I took the interview, and the dude was like, man, I like your personality, man. Like I said, we were struggling at the time, so you have to get licensed by the state. You have to go through this study program. And back then at that time, it was actually one of the largest insurance companies out there, and so they paid me a salary. I was being trained to be an agent, and they paid me a salary for 6 months. So, and then they had an incentive program to where they pay for your testing for the first one. Now, if you don't pass it after then it starts to come out of your pocket. I hadn't already had to come to, I said, all right, God, now, my situation. And these testing fees are pretty substantial.
Exactly.
And your boy ain't got it. So if this for me, I need you to let me pass this joke on the first time. First time. And I had heard people telling me how hard the test was, and blase. I'm blocking all that out. I ain't trying to hear none of that. Right, it's sink or swim right now. So, long story short, I've actually passed it on my first test. To me, it came very easy to me, And that let me know that God had me gifted in that area and I wasn't even aware of it. So I had been forced into a situation to learn that there was a gift in me that I didn't even know that was there.
Yeah.
And so through the insurance business, I learned sales, learned prospecting, I learned marketing, I learned how to talk to people, you know, how to decipher, how to put the right products in the right homes, different things of that nature. And I did all of that. So where I'm from, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, we don't get this in our neighborhood. So I said, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna take 2 years and I'm gonna learn everything I can learn about the insurance business, and then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna educate the community. And I don't know if anybody's ever been to like financial workshops or anything like that, but a lot of times they're not conducted by us, number one.
Yeah.
And then they can be very boring and mundane, although it's great information. And so I told God, I said, man, God, if I do this, I said, man, I can't be like them guys. I got to be animated. I got to, you know what I'm saying? I got to throw some pizzazz to it or something. You know,
Yeah.
I can't do
Yeah.
and so that's what I did. After them 2 years was up, man, I started doing free seminars around the neighborhoods and stuff like that. And then this one particular lady came to me at the end of one of my seminars. She's like, you know, hey, young man. She was like, man, that was some great information that you gave out. And I just felt inspired and motivated. Have you ever considered motivational speaking? I was like, no, ma'am. I'm just here to educate the community, and I'm good.
Yeah.
And so I did a few more, and long story short, it kept being redundant. By the third time a person came up to me and said that, I said, okay, God, I hear you. And so just being in that atmosphere, I had some great managers. All the managers that I had, even though they made very good money in the insurance business, so they was all entrepreneurs and started other businesses outside of that. So they helped me out in different areas along my way of entrepreneurship. So they shared different stuff with me. So that's how I knew that once I realized that I was going to go into that arena, I started doing research and stuff, right? And this is the caveat. There's a top 50 motivational speaker that was my mentor by the name of Delatoro McNeil. Awesome. Had his off the chain. And we was going at another church. This is a long time ago. And so one of my best friends, one of my prayer buddies, and so he went to his event and bought one of his books, and he gave it to me. And I'm telling you, I tell everybody that success leaves clues. You just got to pay attention. And so he gives me the book. I start reading the book. So I go to work one day, and I left it on the bed. My youngest daughter, she comes home one day, and she was like, so my wife, she was like, you talk to Kiki? I was like, no, what? She thought that was you on that book cover. I said, really? And then when I actually looked at the book cover, I'm like, back then I was like, we do kind of favor each other. That kind of, but it's like it kind of stirred something.
Yeah.
And so, you know what I'm saying? So it was like it sent me on a journey and a pursuit. So his trainings are not cheap. So it was like every time he had a speaker training, you know, we weren't in a position to do it. And so, well, one year we had some extra money. And so I said, hey, we got some extra funds, and you know, Dale got his speaker training. I would love to go if we can. And she like, well, yeah, go. I was like, bet. and this is one of those intimate places. He only did 10 at the time, only 10 people at the time. And during that class, it was only 7 of us. And crazy how God works. Everybody was affiliated with a ministry somehow, from way, form, or fashion.
Yeah.
And all glory to God, it was definitely a boot camp. It was 3 days in a hotel room with no windows. The first day we get in there, the first exercise we do, he said, okay, y'all want to be motivational speakers? He said, you got 2 minutes, start talking.
Yeah. I was going to say it's going to be something right now.
Yeah, everybody looking at each other like, what? He's like, let's go. And so I was like, okay. And we had so much fun. We made some great memories. And when I said, and I had met this young guy that was a student of his the last day in class. And I try to pay attention to everything, Jazz. I try to.
Yeah, yeah.
And I noticed at the end of the class, he made a beeline straight to me. He didn't go nowhere. He got up out of his chair and came straight to me and started sharing with me how much money he makes speaking to schools. and the students. Because see, by the time I was running, Jazz, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go in the education market because I didn't think there was no money there. So
Man, listen.
I told God, hey, send me to corporate America.
Everywhere but there.
You know what I'm saying? Send me to corporate America. Let me get the big check, and I promise you I'll bring it back to the community. so he started sharing me. I'm like, man, why is this dude sharing me how much he made? And he said, man, I think you'll be good at it. Now, prior to that, the last day we had to do a 10-minute keynote. We had to do a 10-minute message, right? I don't know why these people didn't know me from Adam Tomcat. And I just said, you know what, God, this got to be you. Everybody, I was the last person to speak, but everybody was waiting to hear me speak. Now make that make sense. Never heard me before a day in their life. This one lady, she comes up to me, she's like, whoo, I need to go ahead and go to the bathroom like right now because I want to hear what you got to say. I'm like, God, what is it? You know, and that was a pivotal point. And so just me knowing certain things about business and being trained in the insurance field, I knew you had to have a marketing scheme. You had to have a platform. God had started dealing with me about writing a book. And I get my first book is on faith and finance because during that time I was into the financial business and stuff like that. So, and God actually used that to show me that I had a gift. Yeah. And my wife was working at a job, and long story short, she ran across this lady that was total stranger. That was she did proofreading, and her sister just wrote a book, so she did hers. Guess what? She offered to proofread mine for free. Yeah. And so so I was like, okay, so this was another clue that led me along this journey. I was like, she made her edits, and she told me, she said, Mike, you have the gift of writing. Like, what? Me? What? Quiet boy from Haines City? Nah.
Listen, I was going to say, but you're quiet. You don't want to talk.
No. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that journey sent me on another journey that constantly, you know, ended me up with where I am. And so I caved in. I said, okay, God. And once I caved in, I started speaking to athletic teams, sports teams, and stuff like that. So I started developing my message, started developing my gifts, you know, being mentored by different ones, including Del Toro and some other ones along the way. And then, bam, that's pretty much how everything just kind of lined up. I got thrown into the fire. You know, I'm like, and life insurance at that. I wasn't selling homeowners insurance, auto insurance. I was selling life insurance. I said, well, if you sell life, you can sell anything. Yeah.
So listen, I noticed that we're going to come back to motivation because what I pitched this podcast as is if you are somebody who needs motivation, inspiration, definitely tune in. But you keep showing this hat, and I'm like, I want me a hat. Tell us about your brand. We know that you are the author, the motivational speaker, all of those great things. Tell us about your brand because I'm seeing it. It's eye catching. From my view, it says AM, but it may be backwards. So tell me about your brand.
Yeah, it's actually, you're right. It's actually MA. It's Motivated Apparel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called Motivated Apparel. So basically, I created an apparel brand to help people just stay motivated while they're chasing their dreams in this thing called life. So
you know why not? I mean,
right.
You know.
Like I said, I had a little bit of business acumen. So it's like, if I'm gonna speak, what else can I, do, as well on this platform? So it's like God gave me the idea, and so it's like I said, it's called Motivated Apparel. Matter of fact, this is this is mine. This what I'm wearing tonight. It says "Stay Good." Good is an acronym for getting over obstacles daily.
I like that.
Like that. And so, my website, I got, you can go to my website and place an order on certain things. Then go ahead and subscribe to my mail. So that way, when I'm out of stock, I can send an email out, let everybody know when I'm in stock. If it's something in there that I'm out of stock that you don't, that's not in there at the moment. But yeah, it's been a blessing because, you get stopped. I get stopped all the time. Like I said, when people be sending me stuff, like I got one of my homies, and he's actually, I got him in my marketing thing on my website. He screenshotted me a picture of him working out. And he was like, "Hey, bro, man, I just wasn't even feeling it today. He said, man, I wasn't feeling it today. He said, man, I just had a bad day, so I just figured I'm just gonna go work out." He said, "But what happened?" He said, "Man, when I put on your shirt," he was like, "Man, it was just like it was go time." And and I
you better sell this apparel.
Listen, I don't do anything without a purpose. I don't do nothing without a purpose. It's bigger than a dollar. I prayed over my merch. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I have people that was going through illnesses that said, "Hey, man, your brand gave me life because of what it said." And these are not, you know, stuff that I've stolen from nobody else. This is stuff God downloaded for me. And so this is fresh and hot off the press. You know what I'm saying? I ain't getting from nobody. You know, and people say they feel motivated, you know, and like I said, I get like compliments all the time. People that buy my merch, they get compliments. Like they be flying here and there. Man, people just be staring at me and, man, where did you get that from? You know, and they just share my stuff. So it works.
It does. Like I feel like it's that same psychology between someone wearing Gucci or someone wearing Prada. Like, you know, some people need name brands to make them feel a certain way. And some people don't necessarily know that they need it, or they won't admit that they need it. But some people can definitely agree that because they're wearing something, it allows them to feel a certain way. You know, whether it's the name brand, whether, you know, because people know how much it costs. And I feel that it's the same way with apparel that makes you feel motivated, like you stated, because, you know, I want to get into the apparel industry that way as well, because I always say these hashtags all the time, and they are things that motivate me. And I'm like, that would be great. And then honestly, students, they thrive off of apparel that is that's edgy, that's urban, that's bright, that says something, especially when you do go to these sports teams and they're hearing these motivational phrases all the time. That is a great market that you've tapped into. And so it's so good to hear that, you know, you're using it, your powers, for the positivity out of it. That's great. Michael, are you able to type your website into the chat? Because the This, That, and the Other podcast, they wanted to know what the website is. Like, can you say it and then put it in the chat? Because I definitely know that there are people that are going to catch the replay, and then we want to make sure that they have the website. And then when I repost this episode, you guys will get the website as well, so that you can order some of this great apparel, you know. So we want to definitely be inspired, because I'm digging this hat. I just started getting into hats, so I'm like, okay, my head isn't too crazy looking that I can't wear a hat, so I'll get me a little hat, you know, a little hat situation. So www.shiftmotivations.com. And so go and buy you some apparel, you know.
The hats. I haven't released. Actually, these are like brand new. I haven't released the hats yet. And so I was actually being strategic with that. So here's the funny thing. Now, I've never really been a hat person until I started getting into the education market. And so, basically I said, you know what, I'm gonna create my own. And I said, if I start getting enough, getting enough flack and stuff like that, then hey, I'll go ahead and, you know, put those on there as well. So, and it's been coming. So I guess I'm gonna have to go ahead and do it.
I love it.
I've had a couple people ask about them already.
See, look at that. Look. We like it over here at the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast. The next episode, whenever they're released, I need to get me a hat, Mike. I need me a hat.
I got you.
Okay, I appreciate that. I appreciate it a lot. And so when you think about, I want to go back to like your first speaking engagement. Like, do you remember what it was and the impact that you had?
Let me see, because there's a difference between my first speaking engagement, because I've been in ministry for so long, and then my first speaking engagement for, you know, being a motivational.
You were actually advertised as a motivational speaker.
I'm trying. Which one? You know what? I really don't recall. I don't remember.
Well, what's one of the most memorable moments that you have, like of you walking out on the stage? Because I'm gonna tell you,
Listen,
people.
I'm gonna tell
I'm
you,
gonna keep
it's
this
the
about
small.
you, and then I'll circle back to me. But so go ahead. You sound like you remember.
It's a lot of times it be the smaller engagements that really have, you know what I'm saying? And I can remember this one particular one. I'm gonna tell. I'll share this one with you. It was a lady that contacted me out of Orlando, and it was
Mm-hmm.
for a. I didn't know it at the time until we got into the conversation, but it was for a women's empowerment thing that she was doing,
Yeah.
and she's like, man of God. She said, man of God, that's one time. What till I find out? Till I find out. But she said, man,
Yeah.
I looked at all your stuff. I watched all your videos. I've been on your website. She said, I just love your content. And she said, I know how this stuff goes. You probably got a fee. She said, I will work it out. Just tell me what the requirement is. Blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah, and all that type of stuff. So I'm like, so I'm listening to her talk. So I'm like, this sounds like faith based right here.
Yeah.
And so, but I honestly I didn't feel to go in that direction, so I left it alone. And so she was like, and here's the funny part. God said, don't charge. I said, what? I said, hold up, God. I said, this is a for-profit business. I said, I'm in ministry, but this is not ministry. I
Right.
said, I said, I said,
Listen.
God, I say, he said, don't charge. I said, okay. I said, okay, okay. So I said, well, I called her name. I said, well, I do have a speaker fee. I say, but I say this one's on me. I had to pull the phone away from my ear because she was screaming so loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once I got to the event, I understood why. Because she was 45 minutes, 50 minutes late to her own event. And
Mm.
when she began to share everything that had happened from the time that she got up to the time that she got there, I knew I was on assignment. And I
Yeah.
was like, nobody couldn't have done that but me because the sensitivity of the situation. And when
Yeah.
she broke down, and the event took a turn to the left, not for the good, if you feel me. And
Yeah.
and so she pulled me to the side. She said, "Hey," she said, "this is not going good like I thought it would." She said, "I know you're supposed to be speaking at the end, but can you go ahead and I need you to shift this atmosphere, Mr. Shift Motivator." I said, no problem at all. And she said, thank you so much, thank you so much. And then she just breaks down and starts crying. And I'm like, we came here for her. And I had my video article with me at the time. My wife was there, of course, and then I had my brother with me. He helps me out sometimes. And so me and him, I said, hey, I said, bro, let's take her outside. So we went outside and we just talked with her just for a few minutes. And then she began to share more stuff that happened throughout the course of the day that really solidified why we had to be there. And me and my brother, we prayed with her.
Yeah.
And she felt better. We went back in. And that was one of my most memorable, and that was a free gig. That was one of my most memorables. It wasn't a large one. My assumptions was correct. It was actually a church,
Yeah.
and what they did was so smart because when you get there, you don't know it's a church because they wrapped the sign, and they
Yeah.
said they didn't want people to not come because it was a church. And so I had the opportunity to meet the whole family. Actually that whole block, and at the end there was about two or three guys that came up. We were just sitting out that side of the building just talking after I hadn't already spoke, and they loved it. I felt blessed. They bought a bunch of merch, and
Yeah.
and I just felt blessed. And about two or three guys, we sitting out there talking, and starts walking up. Now, if you're looking at them, I don't know if they was homeless or not, but they looked homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them said, he's like, "Hey man, I had on my Think Different, Be Different, Live Different shirt." And he was like, "Man, I love that shirt." And he's like, "Yeah." So we started talking, and I grabbed one of them. I said, "Hey, I'll be right back." And I looked, and I said, and after I created some, I said, "Yeah." I said, "What size shirt you wear, man?" So we just talking to him. He's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." So I'm making mental notes. So they're talking. I said, "Hey, man, I'll be right back." So I go in on my table, and I grab three shirts and I give it to them. They was like, "We can have these."
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, you're good. Oh, boy, they had the biggest smile on their face, and we took photos with them and everything, you know. And so I'll share that one with you. That was a full experience in itself. I mean, it'd be like that because I told God. I had to keep reminding myself that I told God, no matter where I am, whether I'm in the boardroom or the church house or the schoolhouse, it don't matter. It's still you. And so you use me how you see fit. And that's what I've just had to learn to do. And it's just been up from there.
Yeah.
So
What are your favorite speaking engagements?
what are my favorite speaking engagements? Honestly, the kids, the
Yeah.
student. Honestly, the thing that I ran away from has been such a blessing to me because some of the kids that I've mentored have gone to play. A lot of kids that I've mentored and still mentor now have gone off to play college ball. Some of them at the highest level. Some of them have made it professionally, so I've been able to mentor and coach them. Guys that will go and then they've started nonprofit organizations. They will come back and do football camps, and then so I get to fraternize with the players. They bring me in as a speaker, and then next thing you know, I'm talking with NFL guys. You know what I'm saying? So they resonate so much with the message, and it's like they start sharing it. I'm like, man, I got NFL guys in my phone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think hey, you know what I'm saying? And it's just been so the very thing that I ran from that God was telling me that, hey, this is what you need. I honestly just speaking like to the kids. That's my best engagement.
That's where
Yeah.
it's at. That's
Yeah.
where it's at. A friend of mine, like he hires me to speak to his players. He's a receivers coach. And so I'm like, you want me to speak to your players, to your football players? And so I had done it so many years ago for an ex NFL player, that's from Plant City. And I spoke to